Welcome to Prospect Heights. I'm going to show you this really cute one-bedroom that we're closing on tomorrow. We're located in a pre-war building that was completely renovated about 20 years ago, but there are still some hints of the pre-war charm that remain, like this original banister and the stairs. And let's take a look inside. So this apartment was a challenge, but I love a good challenge and I'm all about the solutions, and we made it happen. So this apartment is vacant now, but while we were showing, it was occupied by a single guy who, let's just say, did not have the best design sense, and he was also a smoker. So as a result of that, when buyers came in, if they did not have the vision or the imagination, or were sensitive to the smell of smoke, which is probably the majority of most people these days, they were turned off. It was really difficult to get them off the ledge psychologically, and they really were not able to see some of the potential with this unit. We're in prime Prospect Heights, about 2 blocks to Grand Army Plaza, Prospect Heights, Prospect Park, Park Slope, the 2, 3, 4, NR, Q train, everything is right here. The Brooklyn Museum, the Botanical Gardens are your backyard. This is a condo, and it was less than $1 million in Brooklyn, which is unheard of. So let's take a look around and I'll show you the space and some of the ideas for renovation. So this is 550 square feet. We have a galley kitchen here, and basically what galley means is that there's a wall here separating the kitchen. Many people that came in asked if this wall can be opened up to create more of an open space with a countertop and cabinetry. Absolutely, that can be done. There's a gas line here from the stove that just needs to be maintained, but you can totally open this entire space up, which would really change the look and the light in the space, and as well as the flow and functionality. So let's take a look inside the kitchen. And I like to give people options for what type of renovation can be done. You can go all out and completely gut the kitchen, or you can do it on a budget and just replace key components that would totally elevate the space. So in an ideal world, if I was gutting this, I would completely rip it out. I would bring the cabinets all the way up to the ceiling to utilize as much of that height as possible. And because it's a slightly narrower space, I think a flat panel, really streamlined, sleek cabinet would enhance the space. It would make it look larger, and it would just blend with the wall seamlessly. But if you are on a budget, these cabinets are wood. They're the basic, builder grade, rental quality wood. These can easily be sanded and painted. And if you add some knobs or a pop of color, it can really make for a funky statement in the kitchen. These are for mica countertops. These can easily be replaced for a nice piece of stone. You have a nice amount of storage here in the kitchen to work with, but really not a whole lot of counter space. So I think enhancing that by blowing this out and really creating a breakfast bar or an island here, you can make something that is super functional. You can engage with your guests while you're cooking. You can have a cup of coffee or tea in the morning, and also, of course, have great prep space for your cooking. So there's a gap here that's missing. I think there's some space that can be really well reconfigured here without making it a really heavy lift. I would possibly shift the stove over a bit and add another counter here, which is really useful when you're cooking and you need a place to put down your utensils or your prep items that you're cooking before you throw it on the stove. I also love that this kitchen has a window. In fact, every room in this apartment has a window. So for when you are cooking, you can just pop the window open. If you're like me and like to cook with high heat and sometimes it gets a little smoky, you could just pop open the window for some ventilation. Dishwasher is allowed in this building. Some buildings in New York have restrictions on dishwasher and washer dryer. This is a rare building that does allow laundry in unit as well as a dishwasher. Because this apartment is smaller and the kitchen does not have a lot of space to work with, I would probably do a smaller dishwasher, and you can pop that right here next to the water line. And of course, the thing that brings everything together for the renovation is a nice backsplash. That is great to protect the wall from any water that may splash or grease when you're cooking. I personally love when an entire wall is tiled. That gives it that kind of industrial kitchen look. And you can do something very affordable, like a subway tile, and get really creative with the color grout. You can go with a darker grout for a more bistro look, or a white grout. There are so many different versions of white. You can do almond, bright white, fluorescent white, pearl white. It really just depends on what look you're going for. In my kitchen, I went for an almond with a nice bright white backsplash so that I wouldn't see the dirt in the grout. That's just a pet peeve of mine. And then finally, the floor. So replacing this kitchen floor, you can do it with a large format tile to really enhance and elongate the space. Or I've seen people use cork for a more natural look that's more sustainable and very comfortable. If you're standing in the kitchen for long periods of time whipping up something amazing, it relieves the pressure on your back. And then of course, appliances. Appliances are a big ticket item. You can catch a sale at PC Richards or Lowe's or Best Buy on an appliance package. There are also places where you can get slightly damaged appliances, the scratch and dent place. Believe it or not, you can buy a really high-end fridge that may have a small dent on the side of it that you'll never see at a deep discount. But appliances really are a big ticket item, along with the finishes that if you go high-end, you can bump up your budget by 20% if you go really crazy with the appliances. With a space like this, I don't think that's necessary unless you're a really serious cook or a professional. Okay, so let's take a look back in the living room. One point that I wanted to note, if you did open up this wall here, you may sacrifice this coat closet. However, you can easily reintegrate that in another section of the apartment, which I'll show you. But I personally would create a very shallow utility closet where you can put things like your brooms and mops that are kind of bulky and like never really have a good place. Mine lives on the side of my refrigerator for years until I really organized my storage. So when you're renovating, it's great to really be as thoughtful and intentional as possible. So you renovate for how you live. So 550 square feet. When I staged this apartment, I had a dining area here. I had a nice round glass dining table with 4 chairs here. And then there was a sofa. We had a small sectional here with a media center, as well as a little sitting area. This, I think, would be a great place to incorporate a small coat closet. It's kind of an extension of this closet here. But I will say this apartment gives storage. So currently, there are 3 closets in this unit, as well as a designated storage unit in the basement, which is amazing, and free laundry. So this closet, of course, while I was showing it, was packed to the gills, but now you can really see how large it is. And the closet is quite tall as well. So you can go to the Container Store or get something on a budget that would be a great built-in closet organizer. Some people, I personally would replace these doors. You can get really nice flat panel doors, even from IKEA, something that's like a glossy finish or a textured finish that really just changes the look. And it's a small fix, a small improvement. This closet also has this shelving here. So it's like your linen storage. I would have all my products there. And then the bathroom, which is windowed, again, fully tiled. We reglazed the tub. So we had someone come in and spray the tub. It's a process. The fumes are toxic, so you need to be out of the house for at least 24 hours. But for $500, we reglazed this tub and it looks brand new. Let's take a look at the bedroom. One point I did want to make, medicine cabinet. This is quite small, not a lot of storage. And there are two types of medicine cabinets. So this one is mounted on the wall. But if you wanted something that was a more flat, integrated look, you could go for a recessed medicine cabinet. So this piece would actually be indented into the wall, so the mirror would be flat on the wall. I did a triple medicine cabinet that was 3 panels of mirrors because I have a lot of products, and I have a 12-year-old that also has a lot of products. 5 different types of Band-Aids, eye cream, bug spray, everything that you would need that we probably hardly ever use, honestly. But I think a nice large mirror here with a longer light fixture would really open up this bathroom. You would get more light reflected, and of course, it would be a great storage solution. And there is wall space here that can definitely be utilized. This is the type of bathroom where plants, I think, would be very happy to live. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the new owner does with this space. So let's check out the bedroom. This room does not have overhead lighting. We use lamps here. The person who lived here was a vampire, so they preferred it nice and dark. They worked nights, so they needed to sleep during the day. But here, you can easily put a queen or even a king-size bed, as long as it doesn't have a really large frame, with a dresser. And then, of course, this does have another double closet, quite deep, with the shelf above. This is the best case of 550 square feet that I've ever seen, quite honestly. Heating in the apartment is baseboard, and it's central to the building. So the heat is included in the HOA fee, the monthly HOA for the condo, and it's the hot water system, and it's given through the baseboard. The window unit, the air conditioning is with window units, and there are dedicated 3-prong outlets by the window, specifically for the air conditioning units. If you look out here, you can see the view from this apartment is actually particularly special. We're overlooking the backyards of the block behind us, so no one will ever build there. It's a protected view. And if you look down, you'll see that there's a common outdoor space that is part of this building for all of the residents. This window bar here is a relic of the past. It is something that was used many years ago for security because there's a fire escape here so that no one can climb up the fire escape and break into the apartment. But now there are many different varieties of security systems that look much better, that look less like prison, and still do the same job, that serve the same purpose. So you can do something that looks like shutters or a window lock or alarm to alert you if someone tries to break in. So that can definitely come down, and that will totally make this room just like a tree house, sleeping in a tree house, which I think is really lovely. So this apartment was a challenge, and at the end of the day, we were able to find a solution that worked for the seller and got the place sold. So we initially priced it slightly aggressively. However, after 4 months of showings, we had a lot of the same feedback where people just weren't inspired and we weren't getting the offers that we were expecting. So we re-strategized, reduced the price to slightly lower than where we thought it should sell. And in that first weekend, we got 2 new buyers who came in, fell in love with the place, competed for the apartment, and we ended up getting above the asking price, actually very close to the original price. So there's a solution for every issue or every perceived problem, but it's really about being creative and learning from reality and listening to the market and seeing exactly what you can do to set yourself apart. So I'm very glad that this is done. Seller is very happy and ready to move on, and the buyer is ready to move in from Mexico City and start a new life here in New York and plant their roots. So that's what this job is about. So thank you for watching this. If you found this video interesting, please leave me a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, Caterina Peters. See you soon.